Honorable Speaker, honorable members of the August House, I rise today as the leader of the political party NUTO, and also in my capacity as Deputy Minister of Health and Social Services, because this issue is a public health issue as well. And most importantly, as a woman and also as a mother, to put in front of this August House the subject of abortion, which is topical. I'm sure that the expectation of everyone in the House or outside there is for me to say legalize it. Honorable Speaker and members, I want to assure this House that my point of departure is totally from the legalizing or not of abortion. I remember that since I gave the notice, I have been bombarded by journalists wanting to find my opinion with regard to what are the reasons why I want it to be legalized. And my answer was, my motion was, or my notice was, let us discuss and debate. So where are you coming from the fact that I'm asking for the abortion to be legalized? Honorable Speaker, it's totally not about that. It is my conviction that for any decision to be taken in any matter, it is very important to understand, to comprehend the issue before any decision can be taken. I want to put it clear that I'm not bringing this topic here because it has been a topic of discussion, but as a woman, I'm very concerned about the health, the well-being, the safety of our young women and girls with regard to this topic. And I want to give a bit of a background, Honorable Speaker. A research in 2016 indicates that the annual number of abortions globally is estimated at 56.3 million, with 25% of pregnancies being ending in abortion. Sine and Meadow Simet in 2015 postulate that 6.9 million women in the developing world were treated for complications from unsafe abortion in the year 2012. In 2011, in its report, the World Health Organization speculates that unsafe abortion procedures led to more or less 13% of maternal deaths. Although the maternal ratio in Namibia is estimated to be 210 per 100,000 live births, the real impact of unsafe abortion to maternal deaths in Namibia is either not well known or documented. And this, Honorable Speaker, honorable members, can be attributed to the fact that currently abortion in Namibia is illegal and backyard abortion cases go unreported. There is secrecy around the whole issue, and that is why I am bringing it to this House so that we break that secrecy around the topic, which is a very important topic influencing the lives of Namibians. That is the gist of my motion, that as national leaders, we need to be open for debates on abortion That is very important so that we can weigh the pros and cons of it. Certain countries provide abortion in some circumstances. For example, South Africa and Mozambique, abortion is available on demand. While in countries such as Zimbabwe, Zambia, Botswana, Lesotho, etc., abortion is only available under certain circumstances. In other countries such as the Seychelles, Tanzania, Malawi, DRC, etc., abortion is only available in very extremely limited circumstances. Then one also finds that countries such as Angola, Madagascar, abortion is forbidden. Now, Namibia, we all know that it is illegal, but it is allowed under certain conditions or circumstances under the Abortion and Sterilization Act, Act number 2 of 1975, where the life of the mother or the unborn child is in danger, or the life of the mother is under threat, or there are medical evidence that the unborn baby might be born with severe disability. We inherited this law or act from South Africa. In 1996, South Africa amended that law, which is now called the Choice on Termination of Pregnancy Act, which was also amended again in 2008. While we are still using that old one in Namibia, especially in this era where the rights-based approaches on women's rights are being appreciated, that is maybe also the reason why we need to discuss this issue. We are in an era where women's rights are protected, and those who are pro-abortion argue that women should exercise their right to choice and voice. Honorable Speaker, there are two sides to this. It is good to argue from a feminist point of view that it is the woman's body and she should have the right to decide. But where does one draw the line? When or how far is that pregnancy that the woman can decide that I want to end it? I want to quote or cite a statement which says that it was a baby that came out. I lied to that person from whom I bought the abortion pill, and in fact I also lied to myself, because in this case this person pretended that she was in an early pregnancy, but when she carried out the abortion, she realized that, but it's a baby that came out. So the question is, for those, and I'm posing these questions, Honorable Speaker, because I said that I want us to look at both sides of this issue. When does life matter? Is the life of a 1 month inside your tummy less valuable? When does life start? Does life start when the sperm meets the egg? That moment of conception, that moment of fertilization. Some people argue that, well, a month or 2 weeks is not life. But in biology, we also learn that the cell is living. So can one argue that when two cells are meeting, there is life, there is a certain degree of life? On the other hand, Honorable Speaker, there is a moral side to abortion, especially in a country where Namibians are considered to be a nation of high morals that might be conflicting the decriminalization of abortion. Hence, Honorable Speaker, honorable members, this is an issue that we need to approach with care, put all sides on the scale, and wait before taking any decision. I know that at the moment, on the social media, there are petitions that are ongoing. I happened to see another one this morning, which is pro-life, which is saying that we cannot allow the future generation's life to be ended or terminated. So it's an issue that we really need to talk about, debate on it, so that we can be more informed. Now, Honorable Speaker, whether abortion is legal or not, the fact is that there are women, there are young girls who carry out abortion. Whether it is traveling to other neighboring countries or whether carrying it in the backyards of our homes, it is taking place. And what is more important is that whether it is legal or not, abortion does not only affect the individual, it has an impact on the society. It has an impact on other systems in the society. My concern here is more on the psychological effect on women. It's a well-known fact that women, young and old, flock to neighboring countries, especially South Africa, where abortion has been legalized, to do abortion or to carry out abortion. What is very important to note is the fact that abortion is a traumatic experience, be it legal or not. I want us to imagine in this house, and some of these narratives are based on my work as a social worker. Imagine a young girl all by herself in a bed and breakfast somewhere in Cape Town, given an abortion pill from the health center to induce abortion. And when that fetus is out, to put it in a plastic bag, sleep in that room, waiting for the next morning to take it to the clinic, because it's necessary to take it, for them to see that it came out. Can we imagine the trauma that person is going through, besides the pain that the person might experience? The next morning, you take your plastic bag, get into a taxi, go to the clinic, leave it there, they make sure that it's out. You go back where you are catching the Intercape to come back to Namibia. Intercape from Cape Town to Namibia, it's taking 23 or 24 hours, or a day and a half. So sitting there in that bus with pain, not only physical, but also emotional, because there are feelings of of shame, there are feelings of, why did I do it? Was it the right thing to do? And also the guilty consciousness. I know many cases where people, as soon as they arrived in the country, they visited health centers because the pain was unbearable. Just for the health staff to find out that a placenta was left inside her. And I remember a lot of young ones who said, this is an experience that I would not want to experience anymore. It's something that I would not want to do again. The psychological torture, the feelings of shame, the guilty consciousness is just too much. Honorable Speaker, I'm speaking about an abortion which was carried out in a legal manner in a country where it was legalized. In some instances, you talk, and you hear people saying, the sound, because they are using different types of methods, the sound of that machine is still stuck in my head. I can still hear that sound as the machine was sucking the fetus from my body. Yes, they use a machine. So this is legal abortion in a country where it is legalized. I'm bringing this because I said I want us to look at the pros and cons before one can stand up and say legalize it or do not legalize it. Unfortunately, our young girls and women, they suffer in silence because it's a topic sensitive that we don't want to discuss. Some of us are influenced by our professions, and talking and communicating and allowing people to vent is very important. Now, because we don't talk, they suffer in silence. That causes depression and suicidal thoughts in our young girls. Now, can you imagine what is going on in a backyard or in a situation where abortion is carried out illegally? It's even worse. You can imagine the physical pain, but besides the psychological effects, this illegal abortion could also cause heavy or persistent bleeding, heavy abdominal pain, infections, damage to the cervix, scarring of the uterine lining, perforation of the uterus, damage to other organs, and in some cases, it causes infertility. You find people who are no longer able to have children because of illegal abortion. One might end up being paralyzed, or it can even cause death. And we see some of these things in our newspapers, and I want to cite an extract from a local newspaper. A young woman recovering under police guard at X hospital after an abortion attempt resulted in the death of a fully developed infant. She was given an emergency operation to try and save the baby. However, it was too late to save the life of the baby. The woman was officially charged with murder, allegedly used abortion pills to induce the termination. Now, nurses cannot, and that is why I said, Honorable Speaker, it's an issue that is affecting a lot of systems in our communities or societies. In these cases, nurses cannot refuse to attend to such cases. There is no way that a nurse can say, what you did was illegal and therefore I cannot assist you. This is a public health issue and they have to provide services. And that person become a patient, which is also putting some extra financial burden on the government or the ministry. Police officers also have to get involved because we find cases where a fetus is picked up somewhere and the police are involved because they have to trace the culprit. So, as a result of that, as national leaders of this country, we cannot turn a blind eye. Whether legal or not, abortion is a reality in our society, and hence the need to debate on it, weigh the pros and cons, the advantages and disadvantages, in order for us as a country to make informed decisions. I'm almost done, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, what I have just mentioned are some few testimonies that maybe it is time for us as Namibians, for us as leaders, whether it is political leaders, church leaders, traditional leaders, to become more open-minded and to unpack the advantages as well as disadvantages of abortion and try to find mechanisms of creating safer environment to accelerate reproductive health education, sex education, increase pre- and post-counseling, as well as psychosocial support. I know many cases where young girls who wanted to terminate unwanted pregnancies also changed their minds and kept their babies after health education and psychosocial support was provided. It is also very important to establish and try to understand the reasons why people opt for abortion. And of course, Honorable Speaker, the reasons will differ from one person to the other because the reasons are influenced by the living conditions and circumstances of that particular person. In some cases, you find women who want to abort because they want to get rid of an unplanned pregnancy. And that is important also to note that abortion should not be used as a family planning method. Then we also find in some cases where the father of this unborn child is a married man who wants to save his marriage. And they put pressure on the poor young girl to terminate. So there are many reasons and the list can go on. So as I mentioned already, there are two schools of thoughts here, just like in any situation. Those who are for legalizing and those who are not for legalizing. The point for us as national leaders is to debate on this sensitive issue so that informed decision can be taken. Let us acknowledge the devastating effects of illegal backyard abortion. Let us also acknowledge that women cross the borders into other countries. Let us also recognize that even in situations where abortion is legal, it does have mental, spiritual, and emotional consequences. Some of us here were or are or will be confronted with situations where we have advised or where we'll have to advise girlfriends, and I want to borrow from my colleague behind me here, Kamborotos. Honorable Speaker, that's what the Kamborotos mean, huh? Is that, no, I cannot withdraw, it's not in a better context that I'm using it. Or it might even be our own daughters. The unfortunate part here is that in some cases, children or young girls who are coming from well-off homes can afford to go elsewhere and try to do it, while those who cannot afford have to opt for backyard abortion, putting their lives at risk. Honorable Speaker, way forward. The issue of abortion is not a yes or no. Yes, it is a topical topic at the moment, but it's not a no or yes. It's not something that I can wake up this morning and say, yes, legalize it, yes or no, do not legalize it. It's very important to learn from other countries. Very important to see what is happening in other countries. Those who have legalized it or not, what are the challenges? What are the benefits? There is a knowledge gap that is undermining evidence-based decision-making and interventions. This whole week we have been talking about the importance, the value of research. And it's necessary. Research is ongoing, it's not a once-off event, because in every research, there are always recommendations that need to be taken into account. So research will help us also to determine the scale of unsafe abortion, the perceptions on abortion. I know that here and there people are talking, but we want scientific evidence. The post-abortion care in Namibia, that is something that research can also help us to deal with. And of course, Honorable Speaker, I was in consultation with our legal department, also in the ministry, and the indication is that there are plans to look into our current law, of course, which will also be influenced by a lot of factors, such as I have mentioned earlier on, experiences from other countries, broader consultation with various stakeholders, and of course, then putting all these different views and opinions on a scale and see which is weighing more than the other one. Of course, abortion has been the bone of contention in various discussions all over Namibia. However, a closer look is needed for this pressing issue that affects many women in Namibia. Finally, Honorable Speaker, I would appreciate, NUTO will appreciate, if the honorable members of this House can engage in this debate to determine how best Namibians can benefit from legalization or not of abortion. This is vital for any decision to be taken. So I submit. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you.